A very good evening. Today, in a historical verdict, the Supreme Court struck down the electoral bonds. But not just that, it also said that the details of the donors will also have to be now made public. Joining us now is one of the petitioners in the case, Mr. Jagdeep Chhokar, who is from ADR, that's Association for Democratic Reforms. So, first of all, many congratulations. And I want to get your first thoughts on the Supreme Court verdict today.
Thank you very much. My first thoughts are that this is a very good verdict, which I hope will restore people's faith in democracy, in the rule of law, and in the Supreme Court.
I want to understand, what you make out of the finer details of the verdict. The Supreme Court has also said that now they should make the details public, at least of the donors from 2019. What do you make out of this particular observation?
The observation only means that the Supreme Court has completely accepted the argument that people have a right to know who gives money to political parties. Now, through an earlier interim order of the Supreme Court, the court had asked the State Bank of India, actually it had asked the Election Commission of India to get information from political parties as to who has donated how much money to them. That information was in sealed covers, which was not known. Now the Supreme Court has said that, and the Supreme Court has now asked the State Bank of India, not the Election Commission of India. It has asked the State Bank of India to provide this information to the Election Commission of India within 3 weeks, and the Election Commission of India has to put it up on their website within 1 week thereafter. So 4 weeks from today, everybody in the country who's interested should be able to know in the last 7 years which group, which individual has given how much money to which political party. And that I think would be a very important disclosure, which will assist the people in making judgments about how political parties and corporations behave.
If you could just break down what that means, for those of our viewers who are joining us, if you could mean what it means for the donors of electoral bonds to be made public. Why is that so significant? If you could just explain.
Well, the significance is, I think, very straightforward, that if a company gives 500 crores or 1,000 crores to a political party, it is very hard to believe that a company will give it out of sheer love and affection for the political party, or so-called supporting the so-called ideology of the political party. I am saying so-called ideology because none of the political parties in our country has a standard or a fixed ideology. Their ideology is very flexible. It depends on how to win elections, get into power, and start planning to win the next election. So giving money for ideological purposes flies completely on the basis of day-to-day experience. So the only option left is that political parties give money to, though the corporates give money to political parties for what is called quid pro quo. That I give you so much money, you make such and such policy so that I can gain out of it.
Right.
So it is in a way, I shouldn't use that word, it's not a nice word. It is an indirectly given bribe to get done what you want to get done for your benefit.
Right. Also, although the Supreme Court has set a deadline of 3 weeks, do you see any kind of technical reasons possibly being given by State Bank of India, either saying that they don't have data compiled or any other excuse coming from their side?
No. I mean, the scheme required by law for the State Bank of India to collect KYC information from every buyer of an electoral bond. So that know your customer information exists with the State Bank of India under the scheme. State Bank of India could not have sold an electoral bond to anybody without noting down the know your customer details. So how can the State Bank of India say we don't have this? That would mean that they had been violating the scheme as it existed before being struck down and unconstitutional. The State Bank of India cannot say that.
Right. Also, another issue that comes up is that, because of electoral bonds, the government could know who's giving how much because they could just ask the SBI to give the details. But the opposition parties were always kept in the dark, which means that the opposition parties did not have a level playing ground. Through now these disclosures, do you think at least all these things can be ruled out ahead of the crucial elections?
See, with the availability of the information about what happened in the past, the political playing field will not become level. It was not level when it was happening.
Mhm.
Now it will not become level for the past. It will become level for the future.
Right.
Because in future there will be no electoral bonds. So whatever advantage the parties have gained or lost exists. If, let us say, in 2021, just for the sake of example, there was an election in some state and different political parties got different amounts of electoral bonds and they used that money in that election, although that is also doubtful. But let us say party A got X amount of electoral bonds, party B got X minus 10 electoral bonds, and so on and so forth. And they used that money in the election. So the party which got the highest amount of money already has gained that advantage. So that cannot be undone. But
So
we
in
do
that
not.
sense, damage has already been done, you'd say.
Yes, damage has been done for the delay in this decision. Had this decision been taken when we filed this petition in 2017, it would have, all this 7 years of damage would not have been done. But
Right.
we must also say that stopping the damage from being done further now is better than continuing it.
Yes.
But had it been stopped 7 years ago, it would have been better. But that is already in the past. So let us, we can say, we can feel sorry that it was not done earlier, which is a valid reaction. We can also feel happy and grateful that it will not happen in future.
Right.
It depends on the way you look at it.
So I want to understand from you, BJP has gotten the lion's share of these electoral bonds over the years, over 45% at least. How much do you think this has played a role in the massive electoral victory that BJP has had, be it in Lok Sabha or in the assembly polls?
First of all, they have got not 45%, they have got more than that. And number two, I do not know what if there is any direct correlation between the amount of money and the winning, because many other things play in the election. Money is not the only thing. It is a very, very important thing, but not the only thing. And number two, let me also add that it is not only the money that political parties get through electoral bonds. They have many other means of getting money.
Yeah.
Electoral bond money, or all the declared money that political parties declare, is only a tip of the iceberg of the money that they get.
Yeah.
So all parties have other forms of getting money, other methods of getting money, and electoral bonds is not the only money that they have.
Right. Also, the Modi government had contended when they were arguing the case. They said that the citizens don't have a right to know how political parties get their funding. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's exactly what the Supreme Court has said, that they do have that right to know. So the government, while they were arguing that the citizens do not have a right to know how political parties get their money, they were plain wrong. And the Supreme Court has categorically ruled on this issue.
Right. Another argument they made was that this will help bring back black money. While that's one argument, the other side of the argument is that, in fact, it could kind of bring black money into the political system, because you don't know how many times the money is changing hands, and eventually black money could be converted into white as well. So, do you buy this argument at all that the government made?
No, the question of black money being curtailed as a result of electoral bonds is patently wrong. Electoral bonds, as a matter of fact, were a legal means of converting black money into white.
Right.
In addition, they were not stopping generation of black money. They were enabling black money to be converted into white through this so-called anonymity.
Right. There were other. Sorry, go on, sir.
No, it could be that a person who has black money gives this money to another person who buys the electoral bond and gives this bond to the political party, informing the party that this is actually money of so and so, not mine. So black money gets converted into white.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
this was a in a way a route to convert black money into white, not curbing the generation of black money.
Right. I also want to understand from you, what are other ways in ensuring that there is more transparency? Because the other formal ways of getting political funding, that is direct donation and electoral trust, are relatively more transparent than electoral bonds. So, what methods would you endorse can be taken from now onwards to make sure that there's more transparency in political parties? Maybe bring parties under the ambit of RTI, perhaps. Is that a suggestion that you would think will work?
We have already done that, but political parties have refused to follow the decision of the Central Information Commission. And we are in the Supreme Court for that. That is not going to work. The only method and the simplest method is to make all donations to political parties digital. If you remember, when demonetization was done, the senior most people from the government said that we should move towards a digital economy, and even if you buy vegetables from a thelewala or you go in a cycle rickshaw, you should pay the cycle rickshaw fellow his fare in digital payment. At that time it was said make it through Paytm, but Paytm is now gone, but other UPI methods remain. So if a thelewala or a rickshawala can accept payment in digital form, why can't political parties accept money in digital form? Why do they need a escape route of 2,000 rupees in cash? Why can't they accept 100 rupees in UPI payment through RuPay or through Bhim Pay or whatever that is? So the only method to bring transparency is to make all payments to political parties digital. There is no other way.
Right. I want to understand what made you file this petition. It's been a slightly long, case, but what was the thought behind filing this petition, and were you expecting a judgment of this sort?
The thought for filing the petition was that it was plain, it was just complete, uh, it was a completely wrong thing to do. Under the garb of the title of the two paragraphs in the budget speech was transparency in electoral funding. And the scheme made the electoral funding even more opaque. And then in the same afternoon, our finance minister at that time, who is no more, unfortunately, in a media interaction, he said that the bonds will be in the nature of bearer bonds. The identity of the donor will be anonymous. So since that day, I have been asking the question that I am looking for a dictionary which says that the meaning of anonymity and transparency is the same. So you can't make such contradictory statements and claim to be making things transparent. It was plainly wrong, and therefore it was wrong on the face of it. Therefore, we decided to challenge it in the court. It is unfortunate that the court has taken a long time, but so be it. We are happy that it has been struck down, and we look forward to better results in future.
My last question to you: what can we expect legally? What options are there? Will the government file a review? Do you see any other loophole in the judgment that can be exploited?
I have not yet read the judgment. I have been busy giving interviews like this. But based on what I heard the Chief Justice read in the court, there does not seem to be any loophole. And of course, the government can file a review petition that the court will decide. Given the clarity of the judgment, I doubt very much whether a review will be upheld.
Right. I thank you for your time, and also a big thank you on behalf of all the citizens. Your petition did result in a major step towards cleaning our political funding. So thank you so much for that, and congratulations again.
Thank you very much. I was not alone. We are a group of people, all of us, and even with beyond our group, there were other people like Commodore
Batra.
Lokesh Batra, uh, Nitin Sethi of the Reporters Collective, Anjali Bharadwaj of the Satak Nagarik Sangathan, and a lot of other people have worked on it. And I think all those people equally deserve recognition as anybody else. Thank you.
Thank you.